or today's video we're going to do is by creating or taking a quote-unquote flat roof and actually be able to adjust its parts and pieces so that we can create slopes, high points and low points, whether it's for drainages or scuppers or higher points to get water to flow within a certain direction. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our roof type, and as you can see here we have a basic roof. We also want to verify one thing. We want to make sure that on our structure that at the insulation level it is checked here where it says variable. This will allow the roof structure, the parts and pieces in here, to remain flat while the top surfaces, or at least the top insulation layer, fluctuates in its thickness. Okay, your finished layer is just going to simply follow the insulation layer, but it's important to make sure that this is checked so that your roof structure remains flat on the underside. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to open up our roof plan. And we're going to go ahead, and if you haven't selected your roof already, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the roof, and then we're going to say modify sub-elements. Now you'll notice here when we modify these sub-elements that you get the roof boundary, and this time the roof boundary is a green dash line. Okay, the corners are these magenta squares. If you select one of them, you can see it has an elevation that you can adjust either here or here. Okay, so if we were to take and say, well, let's say these are going to be our low points of our roof in the back, this is our front of our buildings, this will be our high point. So if we take these elevations, we make these elevations a higher number. Okay, so basically we're going to go around the building by selecting these specific points and adjusting them so that it creates higher points. Now, right now these are at 0 back here, and these are at 0 right here. Okay, so what we can do then is we can say, well, these are now going to be at a negative or positive 4 inches. Okay, so we're getting everything to slope back in this direction, and the one way you can verify this is you can go over to your Annotate tab and you can go to Spot Slope, and as you put your cursor on there you will start to see. Now the nice thing with this is it actually shows you the direction that that roof is sloping. Okay, so in this particular case this whole main surface is sloping from this point straight back. These are sloping in these angles, and then these are sloping more abruptly. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to say, well, at these points it's going to be a positive number, but only a slight positive number. Okay, that's because we want to start to channel more of the water back into these directions. Okay, alright, so now what we have is we're going to go ahead and actually we're going to make this one a positive 2. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and add a point. So at this point we're going to pretend we're going to put scuppers. So we're going to put a negative 2 and drop a point there, and then the same thing here. So if we look at this back in 3D, we'll see here we've created these highs and low points. Okay, so if we go back to our roof and we continue with our slopes, we will see how our structure is in fact still sloping in that backwards direction. Okay, so now if we go through and we look at our sections, we can see here that our structure itself is in fact flat at the bottom and is changing in its elevation based upon the way we look at the different areas. Okay, so now if we had some scupper material or scupper components, we could put scuppers on the wall here, and we could show that it's draining out right out the back.